Today in the crypto space, we see the market taking a bit of a dip, Bitcoin down approximately 3%, still hovering around the $82,000 level, Ethereum slightly below the $2,000 mark, but definitely at a price where we've seen before, and the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, some of them deep in the red with a bit of a dip. We see XRP, Near Protocol, Litecoin, and a few others coming down to lower levels. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project that got a fat bounce to the upside, and that project is called Heroes of Mavia. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins. Looking for opportunity, whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with the general market. We can see that the market cap at the current moment is on a downtrend in the short term. You can see a bit of a rollover here. We hit a bit of resistance and we're coming down for a lower low. Not a good look, guys. Down approximately 4.4%. The overall market cap is at $2.7 trillion, $2.8 trillion. Not a good look. Trading volume stagnant, flat, boring market right now. I know a lot of the retail investors, retail market is definitely not here in this space. We see, a flatline price action, no volume means no market participation, which is not giving us a market that is easy to trade. And for that matter, a market that is lucrative to trade. Without volatility, guys, we're not going to get much price action that's in favor for trading. And this is the thing, guys. So what I'm doing here in the next little while is focusing on accumulation. Accumulation on spot is the way to do it, especially when you're getting uncertainty, a lot of, sideways price action. Slow and steady accumulation is probably the best thing to do, and this is what I'm doing. Now, ultimately, we do have some news coming around tomorrow. We got some events, of course, and traditional markets are coming out with, news tomorrow. We're going to definitely take, keep an eye on all of that, because obviously it's going to impact the crypto space. But in a nutshell, what we really do see here is that the market is not really reacting very well, even to the uncertainty that the market is presenting at the current moment. Bitcoin rolling over, and a lot of these other altcoins, not looking the greatest, right? We have Tron looking okay, but because of a tweet, the founder, Justin Sun, did mention something that is coming, and people are trying to front run that. That's what I think is happening there. BNB is looking pretty good, still in that uptrend. Are we entering a BNB season? Could be possible. Even as the market was retracing a while back, BNB barely retraced. Its price action barely came down. So that's the reality. Yet when we see other projects roll over and we think that the market's going to come down, the reality is BNB always holds up fairly strong. It's not worth shorting BNB at this current moment, given the fact that BNB barely flinches when the market goes down. Look, it's up 13% in the last 7 days, whereas the rest of the crypto space pretty much didn't even recover yet. So this is something to consider. Altcoin at the current moment showing a lot of strength. At least it's going sideways after a nice impulsive move to the upside, and that's great. Pi Network definitely rolling over here, not looking the greatest. And many others, guys. Many others are looking a bit weak, right? Sheeb, if you're interested in that, is rolling over. Sui, okay, a bit of a double top. We have Mantra still looking okay here, but I'm not touching Mantra. Mantra looks highly manipulated. BitGet also making higher highs and higher lows. I keep an eye on exchange tokens. You guys know that, because ultimately it's a good indicator of where market participation is if they're coming in or not. And this is a good indication because people that get on BitGet or any other exchange for that matter want to accumulate their token for incentives and rewards and so on. So it's a good indication that there's activity happening on an exchange, which I appreciate. Ultimately, We see a lot of dips here, guys. A little bit of red here. Near protocol coming down. We have, the NVIDIA, event that definitely brings in a lot of eyes and ears onto AI, and near protocol. Part of that, segment is definitely going to benefit off of it, but not right now. As you can see, 5.7% to the downside. Definitely not a good look. And as we keep on going down, you can see a lot of little dips here, a lot of rollovers. A little bit more, some more than others. We have Ondo coming down 7.5%, CRO down approximately 9%, Bid Tensor down 7.5%. This is the name of the game here, guys. I don't see any bounces in the immediate short term that are worth going all in, right? The reality. A lot of this market, and I hate to continue to be bearish here, but the reality is that the market's still in a downtrend. Despite any relief that we've been getting here and there, the market is still in a downtrend. And until we get some good indication of a reversal, a market structure that is suggesting pivot, guys, the reality is we're still in a downtrend. The trend is your friend until the end. And currently, there's no indication of any trend reversal that I can see that is significant enough to start taking risk. So, of course, guys, risk is public enemy number one for a trader, and I'm definitely making sure that I'm not taking risk that I'm not willing to take. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with the Bitcoin price, and then we'll take a look at MAVIA, Heroes of MAVIA. Bitcoin, at the end of the day, as you can see, is still in a downtrend, as I mentioned already. Lower lows and lower highs. And today, this price action kind of confirmed to me that ultimately there's a good chance that we come and sweep the lows down here with all that liquidity that's hanging out there. I don't see any evidence of a reversal. Now, it could be that we get this follow through on bullish divergence, and we can see that we're making lower lows on the price action, higher lows on the momentum. Let me just get that line into here so you can see it right here. If you connect these two bottoms, yes, we're doing really good. That's fine. It's great. I'm not saying no, but guys, without a proper market structure that suggests pivot, guys, all I see is lower lows and lower highs, especially now that we've created around the top right in here on the daily. Is not a good look. It's a sign of even of a short-term distribution. So again, guys, it might be a good time to accumulate. And by the way, I am accumulating, but not based on the daily thesis. It's based on the 4-hour, and ultimately that the 4-hour may have some strength to potentially change the reversal, the trajectory of this trend for Bitcoin on the higher time frame. So maybe something like this. And then we start moving to the upside. And sometimes we do get that, quick reversal, and then we start moving to the upside, which I would appreciate to see, obviously. But so far, guys, I'm worried. And if you see on the lower time frames, you can see it better why I'm worried. Because look at these rounded tops, slow and steady drip. That's distribution, guys. Now, it could be that we hold here. I'm very, very smoking tons of opium. Definitely. I want that to happen. Of course, my bags want that to happen. But there's some liquidity here that I'm worried about, that maybe the market makers are going to want and, sweep it up. And if that happens, guys, it's very likely that we're going to come down for a lower low. And if not, at least we know where our level of invalidation for the bearish thesis is that we need to break above this thick white line once again, back test and spring at least, and then see what happens from there, because we need to break above these tops. We break above the tops, starting to look good. We have a volume gap there that gives us that opportunity. We have the point of control here at 95K to act as resistance, and that's something that, of course, I'm going to keep an eye on, because this level of resistance could definitely act as a rejection point for a bit of a dip short term, which would give us a confirmation low, even if it's a deep retracement like that. And then this starts to look like a potential, reversal pattern, that starts to look like a nice big rounded bottom on the 4-hour, which was what we need for the daily time frame to start looking bullish, right? To start getting that reversal right into here. So these are all things that I'm watching out for, but you notice that all I'm saying is if this happens, if that happens, nothing is happening right now, guys. So you have a lot of opportunity. Consider DCAing weekly, slow and steady. Find those projects that you're interested in. Make that watch list. Have that watch list ready to go when you have time to deploy, or you're able to deploy. Deploy small portions at a time and slowly accumulate. And that's what I would be doing here. Obviously, not financial advice. The 4-hour is looking a bit bearish right now. We see the EMAs facing down with red histogram bars in the bearish control zone. Guys, I'm not feeling this market And I'm definitely worried about the sweep of the liquidity down here. So let's move on. Let's take a look at MAVIA. Now, considering that Bitcoin is in a current stance the way it is, and we see that Bitcoin obviously does look a little sloppy and could still get some support in reverse, no doubt. I am not totally convinced about any pumps right now, and especially with projects that look like this. Let me just quickly zoom out. And the reason why is because the incentive to induce a bit of FOMO here is quite high for market makers, and we have to understand that the reason why they want to see, you know, pumps like this, 100% pumps, is because retail will see this and retail will definitely react. Market makers, generally what they do is they get the market going looking really bullish, and then they let the retail investor do the rest. And since that bottom, you can see that Heroes of Mavia is up 377%, which is a significant move to the upside. Now, I am not saying that it can't continue, and I'll be clear about this, it can. But I'm also saying it's too risky to get into a fresh long right now without a structure, without some sort of thesis. It's hard to build a thesis on such price action that pushes up like this. Even if there is volume, it doesn't matter. The reality is this volume can be induced and can be coordinated, and we have to understand that, you know, the price action up until now hasn't been looking good. So one candle like this, or two candles like this, or a few candles, three candles like that on the daily, the reality is this doesn't mean much. It's the structure that means the most. What kind of structure are we getting here? To be honest, none whatsoever. We got a lightsaber. That's all we got. Huge lightsaber to the upside. And we can see that the momentum right now is very overextended in overbought conditions. In fact, I would expect a mean reversion. We can see that the purple line and the yellow line, which is the moving average of the momentum line, and you can see that right here. Let me just quickly zoom in here. They're way too far overextended from one another. They have a toxic relationship. When they're very far apart, they want to get close together. When they're close together, they want to get far apart. And the reality is this is a recipe for a mean reversion. Because they're so far apart, similar to what happens in the past, they tend to want to get back together again. As you can see, when they expand, it gets back together. Now, what usually happens? Usually they meet in the middle somehow. Usually they meet in the middle. In this case, what we could get is a quick reaction to the downside and maybe not meet so much in the middle and maybe meet right around here. And you can imagine what's going to happen to the price. It could also mean that maybe the purple line just hesitates here in overbought conditions and waits for the line to catch up, which is also very possible, which would be a very bullish case scenario, to be honest, right? And then another thing that could happen is that we eventually close this gap by meeting halfway, more or less, which is still a bearish scenario because we'll come down for at least a 50%, maybe golden pocket retracement for that matter. Okay, so consider that. So a mean reversion is definitely possible, and volatility is definitely super overbought, as you can see, and we can see that the volatility line comes down and up and down very often. I want to see a bearish response. And upon the bearish response, I'm anticipating this gap, this empty space, this mean reversion to actually play out. And that's when we have to focus on the price and on the chart. Okay, so that's that. That's talking about momentum. And I'm talking about the daily. The 4 hour in the lower time frames is a totally different story. Okay, guys. So the daily still looking bullish. You got to admit, nothing's wrong with this. We're overbought, and fresh longs are very dangerous. I wouldn't be getting into fresh positions right now, but if you're holding longs right now, I understand if you don't want to exit too early, but still have a plan to get defensive on those gains. You don't want to give the gains back to the market. You want to hold them. You want to protect them at all costs. EMAs are facing up with green histogram bars. This is what you want to see, and we're slowly entering the bullish control zone after a nice triple drive of bullish divergence. It looks good. What can I say? Okay, so now what do we do? Honestly, on the daily, nothing. If you're holding long, nothing. If you're on the sidelines, nothing. You can't do anything. In fact, if you're in a position right now, you should be doing something. And I'll show you what you can do regardless. Let's come up with a thesis. The only way you're going to do this is get on lower time frames. That's the only way to do it. In fact, I would say the only way to do it is really get on the 1 hour. Look at that. Now you got a structure. Now you got something to play with. Let's kind of analyze what's happening. First and foremost, let's identify opportunity. This is opportunity. This is weak spot. And I'm just going to do this, you know, somewhat rough. Do as best as I can to, you know, get detailed. But we got some volume gaps. We got fair value gaps that, you know, obviously are going to get filled or get, you know, tested of some sort. We're going to definitely get some some reactions, let's put it that way. So those are two areas that I'm quite interested in to see reactions. Could we come down as low as here? Maybe. Okay, I'm just gonna throw it out there. Maybe. I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody, you know, I'm not a fortune teller, and anybody that tells you that they know exactly what's going to happen, they're lying to you. So be very careful out there with people promising different things. But I'll tell you this, right now, you are potentially buying the top. Okay, this is the reality. And the reason being is, if you connect all of these tops and you connect even these tops, right here, you can see that we are, let me just get oscillators out here for a second. And you can see that we are diverging. Okay, very clear bearish divergence right now. Higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the momentum, and that usually leads to a rollover. Okay, we didn't get follow through yet. Let me just quickly show you what I mean by follow through. Okay, if you connect these dots at the bottom, we didn't get follow through in the sense that we didn't break the trend line, number one, that usually indicates the beginning of a follow through, but also we didn't get a change of character, which the change of character, let me just show you, and let me just put that right in here, the change of character. Okay, change of character basically suggests that all of a sudden, instead of making higher highs and higher lows, we need a lower low or a lower high to begin the idea that we might be changing direction, which is in a downtrend. It's very clear that we are in an uptrend right now, very clear. And we can see that the bulls are losing their strength and their momentum based on the divergence that we identified, both on the momentum and what about the trend oscillator? Same thing. I can anticipate that the trend oscillator is doing a very similar thing. You can see that class A bearish divergence with the dot confirmation suggesting that there's confluence. EMAs are facing down with red histogram bars. Guys, I understand here that this is not a time to get into a fresh long. However, time and time again, we've seen multiple drives of divergence, and without a proper market structure pivot suggesting a lower low or a lower high, I am worried that ultimately we can go up for another sweep of liquidity at higher levels. And that happens all the time. What do you think happened here? Liquidity built up into here. Market makers push it to hunt that liquidity. Then we get that short squeeze and continue. And it happened here. And we got another higher high. Could we go for another attempt and go for even a double top or a slightly higher high and maintain a trend to the upside while creating a ascending wedge? Ascending wedges are the best for me personally. They're the best structures to trade. When you see slowly grinding price action, you're trapping liquidity into this level, suggesting that the trend is your friend, and market makers identify all this liquidity that is going to be trapped. And then all of a sudden, market makers dump. And what they do there is basically hunt all the liquidity that was built here, that was built here, and that was built here. And the price comes right back down. And the first indication, obviously, is divergences. We can see them here on the oscillators, nice and clear. Okay, very clearly. So let's get rid of the oscillators for a second. But obviously, when you're talking about market structure, it's the change of character. So what that would look like is this. I would like to see a bullish response. Obviously, right now, I just want to quickly get the oscillators out there for a second because I want to see where so we got the bearish response. Now, if the bullish response make a higher high, guys, congrats. You're holding your long. You're happy. You're not doing anything right now. You're going to probably make a higher high, maybe a double top. If you make a lower high, that's a different story. Then we begin the change of character. If on the bullish response, we make a lower high and do not break above this high right here, what happens is that we get a sign that the bulls do not have the strength to maintain this trajectory to the upside. And sometimes it goes like this, and then we go like that, and it doesn't really make a higher high. Maybe I went too high up there, but you get my point, right? And ultimately, we start to see a wedge of some sort form, and so on and so forth. And really, the divergence on the oscillators can definitely be maintained, even though we are getting another higher high, because that's how divergences are formed, guys. Higher highs on the price action, we maintain another higher high, but the lower highs on the momentum just maintain, and then all of a sudden we start to see class A bearish divergence, but 3 drives of it. So again, 3 drives, 1, 2, 3, and we saw divergence, and divergence, maybe another one, and then follow through. Guys, I'm not really interested in seeing a higher high here, to be honest. I don't anticipate it, but I gotta wait to see if that happens. You can see that the bulls can respond right here. So if we make a lower high, so again, a lower high, let's bring it down to here. That's our first confirmation that the bulls do not have the strength. Then we start coming down and we break trend. Key. Key moment. Noobs love trading trend lines, okay, because it's the easiest and the first thing that they learn. But what's most important is the liquidity level, okay. Most likely market makers are going to come down to this level and want to hunt that liquidity. We get a bit of reaction, boom, straight up, and then we have another liquidity level down here. We come all the way down, and this is how we get the downtrend, right? And this is how we get the change of character. All of a sudden, not only do we make a lower high, but we also got to confirm the lower low and then another lower high, and the trend becomes your friend, but to the downside. And then we reach the empty volume gap, which again, guys, emptiness in this level allows the price to fall significantly. And then at that point, we are hoping at that point that we don't retrace any further. Is eyeballing that looks like an 886 retracement, but at that point we're hoping that the momentum, which is the purple line, is finally oversold. And when it's oversold, it's done. It's time to stop thinking bearish, get neutral, wait for the change of character. We start to look for the change of character like we did up here, but from the downside and a reversal to the upside. That's how you do it. You play level by level. Now, the reason why I'm saying that at any given point, you got to have to chill out with your bearishness, because at this point, look, we retrace significantly. If you were able to capture the majority of this move, you know, maybe you can put a stop loss in and let it keep on riding down. But the reality is, if you get this confirmation of a change of direction with the follow through of the divergence, and again, another indication of follow through is if we can break the 50% mark on the oscillator. Wait for the purple line to break below. That's not a bad indication. It helps receive a bit of confluence that we're ready to fall over. Now, I just want to, you know, identify, yeah, this is a very bearish thesis right now. I get it. Guys, there's no reason why Heroes of Mavia needs to pump like this out of nowhere. While Bitcoin is dropping almost 3%, and we have so many other altcoins looking like trash, and all of a sudden we're going to see Heroes of Mavia flying. It tells me that there's market makers looking for exit liquidity. Okay, so just keep in mind. And again, I'm not trying to spread FUD. I'm just trying to protect your capital, guys. So just think about that. Now, the bullish thesis. Now, this is a bearish, obviously. I'm talking about what about if this actually follows through, guys? Just be prepared. But what about if we continue to the upside? The signals that I'm going to get for that to happen, sorry, guys, just quickly, is to see structure. We need structure. So change of character is one thing, and then the next thing that we could wait for is structure. Structure is going to give you that indication that the indication that perhaps we can get some support. And usually what happens is we start to build some sort of structure here while the momentum gets reset. If the reset happens on momentum, let me just show you again, momentum oscillator. When momentum gets oversold down here and price action, all it really did is retrace a little bit and maybe go sideways with the downward slope just a little bit, maybe holding above 43 cents. If that happens, guys, it's time to go long. That's a sign of strength. That means that the bears did not have enough strength to, even the sell-off did not have, or they take profit or whatever happened here as far as, you know, distribution didn't have enough strength to finally, you know, cause a dip that fell and make lower lows where supply outpaced demand. In fact, it neutralized it. It neutralized the negativity, and once momentum resets and it goes for another bullish response, which I mean is the purple coming down here, and the purple goes up again for another bullish response, we are technically looking at a bull flag if this goes sideways like that. And it doesn't have to look like that, I'll be honest. It could kind of look like this and kind of do one of these and so on. It doesn't have to be that long. It could even be shorter. Let me just kind of show you what I mean. It could come down, back test, up to, and keep on going. Basically, that's what I'm saying. If we go sideways within a structure for a little bit to finally give us an idea that we can put invalidations down here with stop losses down here and build a position into the bull flag, and then we start to, you know, break character or break structure by making a higher high, and then we start moving to the upside. And you can kind of see that if that happens, we start to make waves upwards. And why can't that happen? You know, a lot of us right now are very bearish because I understand that's the case. The case is bearish. We see the way Bitcoin is. I just showed you. Bitcoin is on a downtrend on the daily, on the 4 hour. No confirmations. Ethereum looks like trash. We got all the altcoins, bear market bottoms. We got the total market cap bleeding out down to $2.7 trillion. We got a lot of negativity. We get it. Particularly the altcoin market. However, guys, there's going to come a moment where these retracements or these deep ones that I'm suggesting that we get back down to here may not happen. And as you see time pass, statistically speaking, time eventually will turn the market around. And then what happens is that after a couple of months of being overly bearish, what happens is you become accustomed to be super bearish, and then when the market turns, it's almost like you have a lens that is perma-bear. And we have to understand that maybe this could happen. Now, again, the maybe is the factor, because maybe doesn't mean that you're going to take all kinds of risk. What I would do right now is this, okay? If you happen to get a great entry down here and you got the pop to the upside, I'm just throwing it out here because everything else about this big picture is not bullish. But if you happen to get in here, trail up a stop loss, put it at 50%, right around here. Okay, so put it at about 40 cents, 35 cents, and take 10% off the top right now. Take 10%. If we get a pop to the upside, take another 10. If we come down and we get another pop, take another 10. And as this happens, trail up your stop loss a little bit and keep on going, taking 10% of the time and trail up the stop loss. Guys, you won't regret it. Because ultimately, if we get another expansion, then you can stop taking 10%, trail up the stop loss, and let this run for the bull run. Because it's likely, again, let's go big picture. If Heroes of Mavia continues expanding after a structure, that big picture, that structure starts to look like a bull flag. And if this turns into a bull flag where we start looking for a quick distribution, equal accumulation, going neutral and going sideways, it looks like a continuation pattern. And if this happens, it might be the case that we're getting a reversal in this market. Now, I'm bullish on Heroes of Mavia, but you got to admit the chart looks like absolute trash. And because of that, I can't be bullish on the price action until I get, more confidence. And one massive move to the upside like this over the last 3 days is not enough, because we had it before, and yet we still made a lower low and broke the most important level of support in Mavia's chart at the $1 psychological level. So guess what I'm going to have to say next? The reality is that we need to get bullish once we get back above it and back test and spring. Everything else in between, the recuperation here is great, no doubt, but you're taking a lot of risk getting rejected right here. We're taking a lot of risk right now, seeing this thing roll over and becoming a liquidity hunt. We're taking a lot of risk, period. So if you happen to get into a position right here and you're holding spot and you bought the bottom, guys, protect those gains, even if it's little by little, like I suggested. And ultimately, if it gets a bull flag, awesome, you have your position in, let it run, and then worry about what happens here, because I think this level, if we do get rejected, guys, it's not a good look. Who knows how low we go after that. All right, guys, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. I'm going to be live tonight at 8 p.m. EST talking about crypto news and price action. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the dip.